All hands, general quarters. General quarters, all hands man your battle stations. Bogies inbound, multiple vectors. This is not a drill. April 16, 1945, off the coast of Okinawa. This is the sound of a single U.S. Navy destroyer. The USS Laffey fighting for its life. Its enemy? Not a ship, not a submarine, but the sky itself. For 80 minutes, she would be the target of a storm of steel and fire. 22 Japanese aircraft, kamikazes and bombers, would single her out. They would crash into her, bomb her, and strafe her. The world would watch and wonder, how much punishment can one ship take? Welcome to Top Tier TV. In the final, bloody chapter of the Pacific War, the U.S. Navy faced a terrifying new weapon, the kamikaze. These weren't just pilots. They were human-guided missiles, intent on trading their lives for an American warship. The USS Laffey, nicknamed the ship that would not die in a previous incarnation, was about to earn that title all over again. Her crew was a cross-section of America. Young men, some still teenagers, from big cities and small farms. They were electricians' mates, gunners' mates, radarmen, and cooks. Their captain, Commander Frederick Becton, was a seasoned and resolute leader. They had already survived D-Day at Normandy, and now they were thrust into the fiercest naval battle of the Pacific. Their job, radar picket duty, a lonely, dangerous post on the front lines, an early warning sentry for the main fleet. It was the most coveted target for the kamikazes. And on this day, the Laffey was about to become the bullseye. The morning of April 16th dawned clear. The crew was at Condition 1, the highest state of readiness. They knew the threat. They had seen other picket ships get hit. Some sunk. The air was electric with dread. Then, the reports started trickling in from Combat Information Center, the ship's nerve center. Bogies 40 miles out, then 30, then 20. The first wave was a group of conventional bombers. The Laffey's guns roared to life, filling the sky with a black curtain of flak. These initial attackers were driven off, or shot down. There was a momentary sigh of relief, but it was a trick, a feint. The real attack was just beginning. Commander Becton, standing on the bridge, would later recall the feeling. It wasn't a battle anymore, it was a siege. He looked at the faces of his young crew. They were scared, yes, but they were also determined. They had a job to do. At 8:39 a.m., hell arrived. The first kamikaze, a Yokosuka D-4Y Judy dive bomber, emerged from the clouds. It came in low and fast, strafing the deck with its machine guns before slamming direct into the ship's aft 40mm gun mount. The explosion was devastating. Men were killed instant. Fires raged, but there was no time to mourn. Even as damage control parties scrambled, another plane was already in its death dive. This was the new reality, a relentless, sequential assault. The Japanese planes came from all directions, port, starboard, astern, ahead. They came in pairs, in threes. The Laffey was surrounded. The ship's gunners became a machine of pure survival. A 20mm gunner, Seaman George Johnson, stood exposed on an open platform, tracking a Zero coming straight for the bridge. He fired until his ammunition was gone, and the plane, riddled with holes, cartwheeled into the sea just yards from the ship, showering the deck with debris, flaming gasoline. Then, a twin-engine Francis bomber dropped a 500-pound bomb that scored a direct hit near the bridge. The explosion wrecked the radio room and killed everyone inside. Another kamikaze slammed into the superstructure, its bomb penetrating deep into the ship before detonating. The Laffey was being systematically torn apart. She took 4 direct kamikaze hits and was struck by 6 bombs. Her stern was a wreck, her amidships a charred skeleton. Fires threatened to reach the aft ammunition magazine, which would have blown the entire ship in half. In a moment of incredible bravery, a damage control party, led by Lieutenant Frank Manson, fought through the flames and flooding to manually flood the magazine, saving the ship. Commander Becton, wounded by shrapnel, refused to leave the bridge. His command was simple, repeated over the sounds of battle. Keep firing, and they did. The gunners, many of them wounded, burned, and deaf, kept swinging their weapons skyward. They were shooting at targets barely 100 yards away. It was point-blank, brutal combat. After 80 eternal minutes, the attack was over. The sky was empty. The silence was almost as deafening as the battle had been. The USS Laffey was a floating charnel house. 32 of her crew were dead, and another 71 were wounded, but she was still afloat. Her crew, exhausted and battered, began the grim tasks of treating the wounded, extinguishing the last of the fires, and counting the cost. They had done the impossible. They had survived. When help arrived from other destroyers and aircraft, they looked upon the Laffey in awe. No one could believe she was still above water. Her crew's discipline, her captain's leadership, and the sheer toughness of her design had combined to create a legend. The Laffey's story became a symbol of American resilience. For their actions that day, the ship and her crew received the Presidential Unit Citation. The narrative of the ship that would not die was cemented in naval history. But this isn't just a story about a ship. It's a story about the crew, the young men who stared into the face of a terrifying, fanatical enemy and did not flinch, who stood by their guns even as their ship was being torn to pieces around. The USS Laffey survives today as a museum ship in Charleston, South Carolina, a permanent memorial to the courage of her crew and a tangible relic of one of the most incredible survival stories of World War II. The Battle of the USS Laffey stands as a brutal testament to the nature of the war in the Pacific. It was close quarters, merciless, and demanded a level of courage that is almost beyond comprehension. The crew of the Laffey weren't supermen. They were ordinary sailors placed in an extraordinary situation, and their performance was nothing short of legendary. What do you think was the single most critical factor that allowed the Laffey to survive? Was it the design of the ship, the training of the crew, or the leadership of Commander Becton? Or was it a combination of all three, plus a little bit of that famous luck? Let us know your opinion in the comments below. We have a fantastic community here at Top Tier TV, and we read every single comment. If this deep dive into a nearly forgotten act of heroism resonated with you, if you believe these stories deserve to be told, then do us a huge favor. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're dedicated to bringing you the most gripping, well-researched stories from the pages of history. Tap the bell icon so you won't miss our next mission into the past. Thank you for watching. Remember the name, the USS Laffey.